with 12th and 13th chapter today. So we'll all together welcome Prabhuji by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram.
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
So
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
you can start right.
Yes. Welcome back, all of you, for the discussion on first chapter today. I'm very happy and fortunate to be with all of you. We'll recite the prayers and then we will start. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajiv Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namo Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurvani Prachari Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatari Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratashe He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosti Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Pancha Kalpataru Vishnu Kripa Sindhu Devaji Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangam Langhayate Giri Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinathanam Parmananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, welcome back for this Gita Rahasyam sessions. Yesterday we saw and even heard the dramatic recitation of the 11th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is named as the Universal Form. We'll briefly revise it and then go ahead with today's session. Because there are less days and more chapters, so on request of His Grace Mani Bhushan Krishna Prabhu, we will be covering 2 chapters on some days, so that by 31st we are able to cover up all the chapters and get an overview. And as I have been stating earlier also, this overview is not a replacement for the deep study of Bhagavad Gita or courses like Bhakti Shastri, but this is an attempt that within a limited time we get a complete overview of what Krishna is talking of in Bhagavad Gita, and we get a deeper inspiration to go into Bhagavad Gita in a very deep way and study it for applying it in our practical life. So let us start with today's session. Yesterday we discussed about the universal form in 4 sections. In the beginning of the chapter, Arjuna is making a request that, my dear Lord, at the end of 10th chapter, of course, Krishna was not categorizing things into chapters when he was speaking, but these are later made by the Acharyas. So Krishna told Arjuna that you wanted to see me how I exist in the material ways. So everything, whatever best you find, whatever attractive you find, that is actually by my arrangement. That is by my potency, my empowerment. That is my opulence. So he says that actually, what is the need to know all this? The entire material creation is maintained by a single fragment of mind. Ekam Shena Sthito Jagat. So in this chapter, Arjuna makes a request, my dear Lord, I want to see that how you are permeating the entire universal creation. And if you feel fit, then you can reveal it to me. He makes a request. And then Krishna says, okay, if this is your desire, I will show it to you. And Srila Prabhupada writes that actually Arjuna was a pure devotee. He has already understood Krishna's position. But he is still requested to see the universal form for our sake. Because in future there will be many cheating people who will come and claim to be God. So to make a standard and to, if somebody claims to be God, ask them that you can show your universal form. So for that purpose, Arjuna requested Krishna to show his universal form. And actually to see Krishna's two-handed form is a higher realization than to see the universal form. Universal form is temporary. It exists when the material nature is manifested. And then when the material nature is not manifested, it is not there. It is not a permanent form like the Narayan forms and Lord Ram form and Lord Narasimhadev form. It's not permanent. So anyway, then Krishna manifested the universal form, and Sanjay describing it to Dhritarashtra Maharaj. Arjuna is saying it, and Arjuna describing how he's saying, thousands of faces and as brilliant as thousands of suns, and all directions are permeating with that. And then after Vishwarup, Krishna also shows him the Kalarup, in which Arjuna could see that actually in future all the warriors of both sides will be killed by the influence of time. Arjuna started offering great prayers. He started offering obeisances. He started glorifying the Lord. He started begging forgiveness for how he has dealt with the Lord previously. And then finally request that my mind is very greatly disturbed. And please show me your four-handed Vishnu or Narayan form with helmet and conch shell and lotus flower. So then Krishna says that this universal form of mind which you have seen is very rare to be seen, because by the study of Vedas, by any kind of tapasya, by any kind of sacrifices, any kind of worship, it could not be seen. But I have shown it to you as a special favor. Now you see the form which you wish to see, the four-handed form. And then Krishna showed his four-handed form. Finally, Krishna showed his two-handed form, which is described as Saumya Rupa, very beautiful. And Srila Prabhupada writes that actually to see Krishna's two-handed form is the highest realization. And even that two-handed form may be there in Dwarka and Vrindavan, but the devotee of Krishna is attracted to the form of Krishna in Vrindavan, Shyam Sundar form. And that is the highest realization. And those who develop the eyes of love and devotion, Prema and Janam Surit Bhakti Vilochanina. When who develop those eyes, they are able to constantly see the form of the Lord as Shyama Sundar. And how one can attain it? Krishna tells that only by the power of devotion service, only by devotion it is possible to know me as I am. By other processes, it is not possible. Therefore, O Krishna, O Arjuna, you should work for me and become my devotee. So this is where 11th chapter concludes. And now, in this 12th chapter, there are three sections. Verses number 1 to 7, they talk about Godhead, about the two processes by which one can attain the Supreme Lord, which one of them is better. That is being taught. Impersonal Brahman or the personal form of the Lord. Then verses number 8 to 12, they talk about various levels of practice of devotional service. And in text number 13 to 20, the devotee's disposition, that means the devotee's qualities, how he conducts himself, how he deals with others, how he is situated in the midst of all the dualities of this world, and how he serves the Lord, that is being described. So we will see chapter number 12 for some time, and after that we'll proceed to chapter number 13. Today we'll be covering these two chapters. So, Godheads. So, in this previous chapter, chapter number 11, Krishna concluded with the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga and service unto his personal form as Shyama Sundar. So, Srila Prabhupada writes, attachment to Krishna's personal form is the highest spiritual realization. It has been emphasized in the earlier chapters, 6.47, Yoginam of Sarvesham. That is 6.47, 7.1, Krishna started describing about his personal form. And 8.5, Ananya Cheta Hi Sulabham, that was there. And Arjuna personally experienced also in the previous chapter. And he also accepted in the 10th chapter, text number 12, 13. Arjuna himself declares that, my dear Lord, you are Param Brahma, Param Dham, Pavitro, Paramam Bhava. So you are the Supreme Lord, you are the Supreme Abode, and not only I say, but even Narada also, Devala Vyasa. All these personalities also say. Nevertheless, still there are people who prefer to meditate on the impersonal Brahman. So Arjuna is playing the role of a very good student, because sometimes some students are shy to ask questions. So some student ask question on behalf of everyone in the class. The same way, Arjuna is not confused. He understands Krishna's position. He already has affection for Krishna. He has shown his universal form. Still, Arjuna is putting it so clearly so that for all time to come, whoever comes and reads Bhagavad Gita, so clear that this question is answered by Krishna directly. Why should one debate over it? If Krishna is conclusively answering a question, his word should be taken as authoritative. So that is why, for this purpose, to make it clear for all time to come, Arjuna is asking. Arjuna Uvaja, Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktastam Paripasate. So he's saying that please tell me which among the two is more perfect. Evam Satata Yuktaye, those who are Satata Yukta, those who are constantly engaged in your devotion service. Bhaktas Tvam Paripasate. They are engaged in your devotion service. They are doing your upasana. Ye chapi aksharam avyaktam. Then there are others who are doing aksharam avyaktam, the unmanifested, unlimited Brahman. They are meditating on that, the unmanifested and the unlimited Brahman. Tesham teyo vittama. Who among them you considered perfect and supreme? So this is a question. So there are people who take to impersonal Brahman meditation, and there are people who, in the summer season, like these days, and there also summer season. So they lit fire all around themselves and put a fire on the top of the head also, and then they are meditating on the impersonal Brahman. Or there are people who in the frigid winters, they go to Gangotri and they dip themselves half into the frigid waters of Gangotri, and then they are meditating on Aham. So they are impersonal Brahmajyoti, and there are devotees who are there in the Bhavasagar and they are praying to the Lord, and the Lord rescues them. So this is Arjuna's question. He is inquiring about these two classes of people. One class of people worship Krishna exclusively with devotion. Another class of people is meditating on the impersonal features of the Lord. So Krishna replies, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Mai Avesha Mano Ye Mam, Nitya Yukta Upasate, Shraddhaya Pariyopetas, Te Me Yukta Tamam. Krishna uses the word Shraddha, whenever Shraddha and Ananya, these two words are very commonly used by Krishna whenever he has to describe about his devotees or the process of devotions. So he says that Mai Avesh Mano Ye Mam, those who fix their minds on my personal form, Ye Mam, my personal form. Nitya Yukta Upasate, they are always worshipping me, desiring to associate with me. Shraddhaya, with great faith. Pariyupaitas, they are worshipping me, great transcendental faith. Te me Yukta Tama Mata. So we know Tama. There is like good, better, best. So there is Tara and Tama. So there is one thing, and then Tara is comparatively higher, and Tama is superlative. Te me Yukta Tama Mata. So they are considered to be most perfect. So there are perfect people who desire to go out of this material realm. They want to come out of the cycle of birth and death. They are perfect in one way. More perfect are those who are aiming for Brahma Jyoti, Brahman realization. But most perfect are those who are actually aspiring to become personal associates. So Arjuna is happy here that devotional service is described to be supreme. And then Krishna says, Ye tu aksharam anirdeshyam, but those who are worshipping this unmanifest, indefinite, beyond the sense perception form, avyaktam paripasate, sarvatra gam achintyam cha kutastham achalam jivam. And this form is what? This form is sarvatra gam. This is all pervading. This is achintyam. This is about Brahman Krishna. Inconceivable. Kutastham achalam dhruvam. This is fixed, and this is unchanging, and this is immovable. And what they do? Sanniyam indriya gramam. They control various senses. Sarvatra Sambuddhaya. They are equally disposed to everyone. And they prapnuvanti mamiva. They also attain. They also attain Sarva Bhutta Hitirata, and they are engaged in the welfare work for everyone. So Krishna says that these people also, through the method of controlling of senses and equal disposition toward other, engaging in welfare work for others, they also attain. Then Arjuna asks this question: if they also attain you, and the person is also attain you, then how are the person is devotees superiors? So this is a question which comes in Arjuna's mind, and Krishna replies that this path what these impersonalists take, this is a very long, circuitous path, very tiring path. And after going on this path, they become jnanis. And after what happens, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, Jnanvam. This takes a long time and it's a very troublesome path. Kleso adiktaras tesham, avyakta asakta chetasam. That advancement is very troublesome for those whose minds are attached to the avyakta, because it is not manifested. Avyakta asakta chetasam. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham, devabhir avapyate. So to make progress on this path is very, very difficult for the embody. Srila Prabhupada in the purport mentions about the process of deity worship, saying that Krishna comes to take service, accept service from the devotees. And because devotees are able to engage their senses in the personal service of the Lord, the path of Bhakti Yoga becomes comparatively very easy. On the other hand, for the embodied people to have a concept of impersonal Brahman, which is not manifested, which is unlimited, which is all pervading, is very difficult. But by rendering service to the deity, by engaging senses in satisfying the senses of the Lord in the form of deity, it becomes very easy. Prabhupada gives a very elaborate thing about deity worship in the purport to this verse. So we can imagine that it's our great fortune that actually, even at this stage, we are connecting to Krishna. We are not able to fully realize Krishna as his deity form. But actually, we are rendering service to the deity form, understanding that he is Krishna. And gradually, by the process of service, then we get that realization also. So this is the easy method. The method of devotional service, easy method. Why? Because we are connecting to Krishna, and Krishna personally comes and delivers. This is said in the next two verses. Two of the most beautiful verses of Bhagavad Gita are these two verses. We can memorize them and recite them, where Krishna gives great confidence to his devotees. That actually my devotees are not alone. I come to rescue them. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matpara ananyenev yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samuddarta mrityu samsara sagara bhavami na charat partha maya veshita chetasam. So Krishna says, but for those who give up all their activities unto me, yetu sarvani karmani, they give all their activities unto me because they are devoted to me. And anne yevana yogena. Anne neva yogena means without getting distracted by any other path, without deviation. They are engaged in devotion service. Mam dhyayantam upasate. They are always meditating and worshiping. So again, we can see the word anne yeneva means without getting into another path. So this is a strong demand of Krishna. Shraddha and no other diversion, no other distraction. Ananya neva. So what he does for them, for such people, Tesham Aham Samuddarta. 2 days back we were discussing about Tesham Evanukam Partha Aham Ajnanajam. From within their heart, I destroy the darkness which is born of ignorance. And here it says Tesham, for such people who are uh, dependent on me alone, they are engaged in my service alone. For such people, Tesham Aham Samuddarta, I become a swift deliverer. Mrityu Samsara Sagarata, I come riding on the back of Garuda. Personally, I come and Mrityu Samsara Sagara. I rescue them from the Mrityu Samsara, from the ocean of birth and death. Bhavami, Nachirat Partha. Nachirat, Chirat means delay. Nachirat means without delay. I come and deliver them without delay. Why? My Avesha Chetasam, because they have fixed their minds upon me. So, Krishna being the reciprocal Lord, when somebody becomes a devotee of Krishna, Krishna says, because he is devoted to me, I become devoted to him. Because that is the meaning of Ye Yathama Prapadyante, the way he reciprocates with me, the same way I also reciprocate with him. When Sudama came to meet Krishna, Sudama did not have anything at his home. So his wife went to neighbors' houses and she begged for some broken pieces of rice, poha, and she tied in a piece of cloth and gave to Sudama to give to Krishna. So when Sudama came and saw the opulence of Dwarka, he was very hesitant. How can I give this third class broken piece of rice collected from neighbors' houses? Krishna was asking, "Have you not got any gift for me?" And Krishna could identify and snatch that little pouch of rice, poha. And then Krishna ate it, and then Rukmini ate it. Now Krishna was thinking, Sudama has brought for me something which he did not have. He did not have it himself. He brought something which he is not using, which he is not having. He borrowed it from others and bought it for me. So now if I have to reciprocate with him, ye yatamam prapadyante, then I also have to give him something which is not owned by me. But what can I give him? Everything in this world is mine. Vetti loka maheshwaram. I am the
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Sound is gone, no?
Yes, yes. Maybe network issues.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Revati Padi Prabhu's voice is not hearing. Can you inform him?
His voice is
Not coming. Voice is not coming.
not okay. I'll tell him.
Yeah, please check. Tell him to check what is the problem. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, now he is off. Now he is offline.
I'm sorry, this power connection went off and then
Yeah, okay. No problem.
I don't know, sometimes it happens a couple of times, so please tolerate if it happens again, but let's hope not.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Prabhuji is returned. Prabhuji is returned. Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.
So Sorry for the interruption. Power got cut off and came 2-3 times, so let's hope it remains steady. I was telling about Sudama. That Sudama brought something which he himself did not have. Just like sometimes we are using a simple pen, but we may take a very costly pen to give to our friend. So same way, Krishna also wanted to give something to Sudama which he did not have. And because he is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he has everything of the creation. That is why he is incapable of reciprocating with Sudama's offering. And that's why he gave everything to Sudama hidingly. He didn't give anything. So this is the nature of the Lord, that this is how he reciprocates. So when the devotee becomes completely dependent on the Lord by offering everything he has to the Lord becomes very eager and he comes riding on the back of Garuda to deliver such a devotee. Desha Maha Samudrata Mrityu Samsara Sagara Bhavami Na Chirat Partha Mai Avishchit. So that's why devotees endeavor to get out of this Bhavasagar is to call out for the Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. On the other hand, all other people, they are trying to figure out their own means and ways to get out of the Bhavasagar, which is not possible. We can come out of Bhavasagar only when Lord comes and lifts us up, and immediately we can be out of it. But to make a plan to cross over the Bhavasagar by one's own prowess is like trying to have a boat in a big ocean, and that too made up of stone, because all knowledge which does not culminate in knowing the personality of the Lord, in knowing the name, form, qualities, and passion of the Lord, all that kind of knowledge is compared to stone. It cannot give one perfection. It cannot take one to the final destination. So that is why Krishna is so emphatic about how he reciprocates with his devotees and how he loves it. Here also he is demonstrating that I come and personally deliver my devotees. On the other hand, the worshipper of impersonalists, they have to endeavor on their own to try to reach the Brahmajyoti. And we saw in the 8th chapter how many parameters are there, how many permutation combinations are there. They have to leave their body in the time of day when the sun is in the northern hemisphere, and then the whole chain of interlinks are there. One thing goes wrong, again they are back in the material. On the other hand, devotees of the Lord, anytime they are there, any way they leave their body, they are devoted to the Lord, God delivers. So Krishna concludes here in this first part that my devotees are superior to the worshippers of impersonal Brahman. And now here he talks about what all kinds of devotees are there, what are the different kinds of devotional practices devotees. So text 8 and 9, they talked about bhakti with internal senses. Internal senses means with the mind, the intelligence, and the consciousness. And then text number 10, they talk about bhakti with external senses. And text 11, they talk about giving up the result of work. And 12, like a summary about the hierarchy of the. So in text number 8, here it says, Mai eva mana adatsva mai buddhim niveshaya nivashyashi mai eva ata urdhum na samshaya. So he was saying here that Mai eva mana adatsva. By remembering me, fix your mind on me exclusively by remembering always. Mai eva mana adatsva. So this line is an indication of Smarana Atmika Bhakti. That means the devotee always remembers the Lord. And the example given for this is Prahlad Maharaj, who always remembers the Lord without any break, without any. Second, my buddhim niveshaya, if you are not always able to remember me naturally, spontaneously, then fix your intelligence in me. Mana Atmika Bhakti. Manan Atmika Bhakti. My buddhim niveshaya. That means just like Arjuna has asked in the previous chapter, how should I see you? Krishna says, Rasoham aptu kamteya, pravas nisha. Then Arjuna has asked, how to see you in all keshu shubhaveshu. Please move the mics, I get distracted. So, keshu shubhaveshu, how to see you while being in this world. And then Krishna describes, I am the best among the mountains, I am Himalaya among the mountains, I am Brahaspati among the demigods, and I am Narad among the sages. Like that he describes. So, my buddhim niveshaya, that means by contemplating, based on scriptural description, you fix your intelligence and me. And what is the result? Then you will always live in me without niveshyashi mai eva ata urdhvam na samshaya. And Arjuna says, this is very difficult. My mind is already uncontrolled. I already told in chapter number 6, Chanchalami Mana Krishna, Vati Parvatra. So this is not possible. Krishna says, no problem. Then what you do? Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mai sthiram abhyasa yoge na tato Ma Ichha Tam Dhananjaya. And what you should do, try to fix your mind on me. If you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation constantly, then endeavor, Abhyasa Yoga, by sadhana bhakti, by following the regulative principle of bhakti. That is, withdraw the mind repeatedly from sense object and fix it on me. This is Abhyasa Rupa Bhakti. This is what we are all doing. We are trying to pull the mind from different engagement in the senses, and we are trying to Abhyasa Yoga and are trying to engage the mind in Krishna service. And Srila Prabhupada writes, under the guidance of a guru, one should follow the prescribed practices of Bhakti Yoga, like chanting the holy name, offering flowers and food stuffs to the deity, taking prasadam, hearing scriptures from devotees, and so on. So basically, Prabhupada summarizes the daily schedule of a ISKCON devotee. If one does that, this is Abhyasa Yogena Bhakti. So by doing this, what happens? One will develop the desire to attain Krishna. So this is the summary of the top three verses what we discussed. Intelligent and inoffensive people can perform them easily, while less intelligent people find them difficult. As the mind is fickle, like the wind, one may not be able to restrain it. Because to practice Bhakti Yoga, also we have to fix the mind, to chant Hare Krishna and to serve the deity. So for those who cannot even gradually fix the mind by practice, that means they cannot practice sadhana bhakti, then Krishna says, okay, even if you cannot practice sadhana bhakti, this is the platform at which you can do. You can work for Abhyasepi asamarthosti, mat karma paramo bhava, mad artham api karmani kurvam siddhim avapyasi. So Prabhupada says, if you cannot practice sadhana bhakti, then just try to perform your activities for my pleasure. Mat karma paramo bhava. Though your mind is not in me, result is that gradually you will attain perfection. And what is this work for Krishna? Prabhupada describes that work for Krishna means offering charity to build Krishna's temples or publish books. By doing such work, even without remembering Krishna, one can still attain perfection. Voluntary work done for Krishna's satisfaction is a spiritual activity. So if one cannot like come to temple and chant Hare Krishna and take to the regular practice of Bhakti Yoga, then we should try to engage them in some kind of service. We should so when we go out on Janmashtami and invite people for Janmashtami participation or inspire them to contribute some donation for Janmashtami celebration or book distribution or Rath Yatra celebration, that is actually a great gift which we are giving. It is not that by taking money we are getting obliged, but actually by giving people a chance to give their money to Krishna, this is a great service to them, because by this gradually they will attain perfection. Gradually they will come to a platform where they can practice sadhana bhakti. So this work for Krishna is also glorified. And those can do bhakti by both internal and external means are most outstanding. That means just like Arjuna, Krishna is suggesting Arjuna that you fight and you remember me. So you remember me and fight simultaneously. So devotees at ISKCON, they do both. They do bhakti yoga also, abhyasa yoga. That means they practice the internal bhakti yoga, and externally also they engage in service to Krishna. So this is described as best. So, and now those people who cannot even work for Krishna, they cannot give charity to a religious institution because of whatever reasons in their family and all. So Krishna goes one step further, and he says that if you cannot offer all your actions to me, then try to act giving up all result of your work and try to be self-situated. That means if people are not giving for devotional cause, at least they should give for some social cause. Because if they become detached from the fruits of their activities, that is giving them some progress and some advancement gradually. And by not enjoying the fruits of their work for themselves, then they make a little advancement, which will eventually bring them to the platform of practicing devotional service. So here the social service part is being accommodated here. This is, Krishna will now advise such people, those who cannot work for Krishna, that they should sacrifice the result of their activities, if not fully, at least some percentage of the result. Sarva karma palatyagam. Some kind of social service. People are there who clean the roads and all. Sometimes they give medicines in charity. They help the poor and all. So this is the summary of the last few verses what we discussed. The Krishna first recommend Mai eva mana adasva. This is Prabhupada's explanation that offering one's mind and intelligence to Krishna entirely. And this is Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan's explanation here. And then in text 9, there's a description of Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, that sadhana bhakti or practice of regulative principles, and withdrawing the wandering mind by repeated practice and gradually fixing it on Krishna. Then in 10th it says Mat Karma Parvam Bhava, work for Krishna by contributing to his service. And in 11th verse it says, Sarva Karma Phala Tyagam. Give a result of work for some good cause, do some social service at least. And then in 12th verse, Krishna gives different level. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasa. For those who cannot follow the principle of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge. Who cannot actively serve Krishna, let them cultivate knowledge. And then further it says, Jnana. What happens with Jnana? Jnana dhyana vishishyate. And further than Jnana, rather than just cultivating knowledge, they can develop meditation because knowledge gradually develops into meditation. And dhyana karma phala tyaga. If one cannot do meditation, then one can renounce the result of specified work for some good cause, like what we described social service. And in this way, by renunciation, one attains peace. So, although these are 4 verses, but there are lot of depth in them, which our acharyas have described in detail. Like here we have quoted Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has also given a slightly different variation of the understanding. And Prabhupada has also summarized the understanding of previous acharyas. So we will need to study the purports in depth to get a more deeper understanding of these verses. But suffice to say that in these 4 verses, Krishna is giving multiple options. As we were discussing, Bhagavad Gita is not a book of commandments, it's a book of choices, where all the paths and all the options are shown open to Arjuna, and he is told to choose as per his desire and his capacity. So here Krishna says that best is to invest one's consciousness in him, but if one cannot do that, then one should practice sadhana bhakti. Cannot practice sadhana bhakti, then one should work for Krishna. One cannot work for Krishna, then one should work for some social cause. But Krishna condemns selfish life. Don't become selfish. Don't just work hard and earn money and enjoy the fruits yourself. Do it for someone. If not for me, not for Krishna, then at least for some social cause that will also elevate you gradually. So this is the second part, and now there is the third part. Devotee's disposition. That means here Krishna talks about those qualities which make the devotee dear to him. So we should know that whenever Krishna is talking about a devotee becoming dear to him, he's always talking of the devotee's disposition and qualities. He's not talking about a devotee should be tall or short, or he should be brahmachari or grasta, he should be doing one service or another. No. Whatever service one may be doing, whatever varna and ashram one may be situated in, Krishna is pleased by the devotee's qualities, not by the devotee's external situation and external engagements. So this is a very profound thing that Krishna wishes that his devotees develop all these wonderful qualities. And how do they develop? The seed of this good quality is in surrender to Krishna. Because devotee becomes surrendered to Krishna, then automatically these good qualities manifest. So these are the very beautiful description. Here you see. This is Krishna worshipping Sudama, just now we were talking about that. So qualities of a devotee, they make the devotees very dear to Krishna. A pure devotee has all good qualities. You know that famous verse. The one who engages in devotion service develops all good qualities. Yashasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarve gunes tattva samasateshvara. And hara avaktasya kuto mahatguna manorathena manaso dhavato. That if one is not a devotee, then he has no good qualification because he is a mental plane. He has no understanding of who he is and what the goal of life is. And that is why these good qualities do not last. On the other hand, a devotee, apparently when he starts practicing devotion service, may be seen as rough, may be seen as little arrogant. But by the practice of devotion service, he will develop pranadati sunishina, develop all these qualities. So here he says, Advesta sarva bhutana, maitra karuna evacha, nirmamo nirahankara, samadukha sukashami. So here are some slides which are self-explanatory. So we will rush through it a little quick and we will start with the next chapter. One is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities. Here you see Narad Muni initiated Mrigari the hunter. So first he was half killing the animal, and later on when he was initiated and given divine knowledge by Narad Muni came to meet him again, then he was not ready to kill even the ants. Earlier he was killing big animals, he was half killing them and enjoying their pain. Now he became so kind and so friendly to all living entities, he was not ready to kill ants also. Another devotee comes in Bhagavatam, our dear Jad Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj became the deer, then he became Jadabharat. Jadabharat was also not ready to step on even a single ant which were there in the road. So when he was carrying the palanquin of Maharaj Angana, then whenever he see an ant crossing the pathway, he will stop. He will tell that the ant crossed, then he will. All other palanquin carriers, they were not like that. So it will cause jerking to the palanquin. But this is the nature of a devotee. Prabhupada was saying today morning, I was hearing lecture that a devotee does not want to kill even a mosquito. It is not that, like people say that they are citizens. Americans are citizens. American humans are citizens, but American cows are not citizens. Citizen means praja. Praja means anyone who is born in that state. So every living entity is a citizen. That is a devotee. And one who does not think himself of a proprietor and is free from false ego. So here you can see Maharaj Prataprutra. Although he is the ruler of entire state of Odisha, but he does not think himself like that. And he is willing to take a broom with a golden handle and sweep the road in front of Jagannath. Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very delighted and very happy on seeing Maharaj Prataprutra does this behavior. One who is equal in both happiness and distress, with tolerant and always satisfied, like Sukadeva Goswami. So either happiness or distress, he is tolerant and fully satisfied. One who is self-controlled and engaged in devotional service and determination, mind, intelligence, which is very dear to Krishna. Such a devotee of mine is very dear. He for whom no one is put into difficulty. So Prahlad Maharaj is not putting anyone into difficulty. But he was not disturbed by anyone also.
परंतु वो नाग भी उसे कुछ नहीं कर पाए।
There you can see Prahlad Maharaj is put into difficulty, but he is not disturbed. He is equipoised in happiness and distress. And not having any fear or any anxiety. These are the different means by which Hiranyakashipu tried to kill Prahlad. Prahlad was equipoised. Such a devotee is very dear to me. Prahlad is dear to me. My devotee is not dependent on the ordinary course of activity. That is Hanumanji going to Lanka to search for Mother Sita. And he is very intelligent and expert. You can see Hanuman's expertise. So he is pure, he is expert, he is without care, free from all pain. So Hanumanji is so expert because the Surasa, she has a benediction that no one can bypass her. One has to enter her mouth, either she will eat or if she will eat, then only he can go. So Hanumanji became big, Surasa became big, and Hanumanji became very small like a mosquito and went inside the mouth and came back and says, see, I have fulfilled the benediction. I have gone inside your mouth, now I am out, so please let me go. So this is expertise. So such a devotee is very dear to me. So like that, Lord describes those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service. And who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal. Such devotees are very dear to me. So this is Srila Prabhupada. You can see how dear Srila Prabhupada must be to Krishna, who fulfilled his mission, established his mission on this planet. Such devotees are very, very dear to me. So we are concluding chapter 12 here, where we discuss about Godhead. Arjuna asked the question, what is better? Because he is personally attached to the personal form of the Lord. So he wanted to clarify. There are many who are attached to the impersonal worship. if they want to attain Brahma Jyoti. So he's asking the question, who is better, those who worship your person form or those who meditate on the impersonal form? And Krishna very conclusively tells that those who worship my personal form, they're very dear to me, they come to me. Those who worship my impersonal form, they also come to me, but they take a long time. It's a very indirect path. And that path is filled with a lot of challenges and a lot of difficulties. But for my devotees, because I personally come with samsara saga, so I come and without delay deliver them. That is why this path is easier and devotees should take to this. And then Krishna describes about the different options, starting with the kind of bhakti where one's consciousness is fully absorbed in him. This is called Ismaran Atmika Bhakti, remembering the form of the Lord in mind, then Manana Atmika Bhakti, then contemplation of Krishna with intelligence, then Abhyasa Rupa Bhakti, that is Sadhana Bhakti, and then he says one can work for me if he cannot practice Bhakti. If he cannot work for me, he cannot give donation for me, he cannot engage in my indirect service, then he should engage in service of other living beings. But one should not become selfish. And then finally Krishna talks about the qualities of devotees, which make the devotees very, very dear to the Lord. So it's a very elaborate and beautiful description. There are 8 verses describing the devotee's disposition. And Srila Prabhupada has given beautiful purpose. In essence, he says the devotee's disposition is Tatya Anukampam Susamikshamanam. This is one verse where Prabhupada talks a lot about the disposition of the devotee. That whatever comes up, he takes it as Krishna's mercy. If something good happens, he feels I don't deserve it. Something goes wrong, he feels that much more was supposed to happen, but Krishna has protected me. And in this way, he remains eternally grateful to the Lord and constantly remains engaged in his service. So this is the essence of devotee's disposition towards the Lord, and such devotees become very, very dear to the Lord. So now, because as we discussed in the beginning, that we'll be covering 2 chapters every day so that we can have a total overview of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we'll start with chapter 13 now, and at the end, if time permits, we'll take some questions, or you can write the questions to Gopal Prabhu. I can answer to him, and he can reply back also. So let us start with chapter 13. So we are starting with chapter 13. This is entitled as Whitest. There are questions and the answers. Which question is raised by Arjuna in the first verse, and then Krishna replies it throughout the chapter. And he talks about items of knowledge, the 20 items of knowledge. And talk is there about soul and super soul, Atma and Paramatma. Who is the real enjoyer? Then seeker to seer, and then transcendental. So this is now in this section. Chapter number 1 to 6, they were how to achieve bhakti through one's work, that was Karma Yoga. And chapter 13 to 18 are focusing on how to achieve bhakti through knowledge, that is Jnana Yoga. And chapter number 7 to 12, which we just concluded, they are pure Bhakti Yoga chapter, where Krishna very unhesitatingly and very vocally glorifies his devotees and the path of devotional service. And now he is speaking Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, to the question is raised. If Bhakti is ultimate, then why Jnana is prescribed after the section on Bhakti? So in text 12.7, which we just saw, that Lord Krishna promised to save his devotees from the samsara of death. So chapter 13 to 18 fulfill this promise by supplying philosophical knowledge, which is required to remove oneself from material entanglement. So Krishna gives us the sword of knowledge, but we will have to do this work ourselves of cutting our attachment and affection. So Krishna gives us all knowledge, but actually Krishna does not force us to change our desires. So because Krishna wants our voluntary love, so Krishna will give us all knowledge. Krishna will show us what is to be done, how it is to be done. But actually it will be we who will actually do it. So Krishna is here providing knowledge about the material nature, about the nature of soul, about super soul, about the 3 modes of material nature, to tell us how we are entangled in this material world and how by taking this sort of knowledge we should get detached and we should disentangle ourselves from the material nature. So chapter number 13 to 18, Krishna is providing philosophical knowledge required to remove ourselves from material things. So if jnana is utilized to attain devotion, it becomes part of bhakti. Then we are not jnanis, but we are using jnana to increase our devotion. We are not aspiring for impersonal Brahmajyoti liberation. We are still aspiring for Lord's personal service. But we are using the knowledge about the Lord, knowledge about Lord's creation to serve the Lord better. And without the touch of bhakti, both karma and jnana are useless. So bhakti yoga is kept in middle, where it can remain in contact with both karma and jnana and thus let them value. Because whether karmis or jnanis, unless they practice some limb of bhakti, they cannot attain perfection in their respective yogas. So that is why it is only through bhakti yoga that Lord is accessed, and either karmi or jnani or yogi, they also attain their desired result by the dint of adding small bhakti to them. But a bhakti yoga practices bhakti as the prime thing, and he may utilize that knowledge to enhance his bhakti. But as Krishna tells in the 10th chapter, the other day we were discussing, even if one is not able to understand the technical part, even if one is not able to have any technical jnana about material nature, about souls, about souls, this is quite, I mean, you will experience it as we go ahead in this chapter, that the technical terms will become a little complicated. So, still, if a devotee is engaged in service to the Lord with love and affection, nothing remains hidden from such a devotee. Krishna personally reveals everything to him from within the heart. But if we have capacity, we are kind of consider ourselves learned, then we should learn the Jnana section, analyze our life, and take steps to make ourselves more devoted to the service of the Lord. So this is the theme. This is the first verse in which Arjuna is asking 6 questions. Tell me about Prakriti and Purusha, Kshetra and Kshetragya, Jnanam and Geya. So these are the 6 questions that are asked in the first question, and then subsequently Krishna replies. Arjuna is inquiring about matter and spirit and knowledge. So matter is Prakriti, that is why there is nature. Spirit is Purusha, Kshetragya, that is enjoyer, and knowledge is Jnana and Geya, that is consciousness. So the chapter is entitled as Nature, Enjoyer, and the Consciousness, because these are the questions raised by Arjuna about matter, spirit, and knowledge, Jnana. So Krishna is describing here the field of activity. Kshetra is the body. The body is called Kshetra. So the terms are a little new if we are reading Bhagavad Gita for the first time. Then, but they mean the same simple thing only. Kshetra means the body. Knower of the body, Kshetragya. Kshetra is the field, and Gya means one who knows. So Kshetragya is the soul. But soul is not the only knower. There is another Kshetragya, super soul. That means within every living body, there are 2 knowers. There are 2 people who know it. One is we, that living body, the living soul. And second is the super soul, it also knows. So, and then further Krishna describes that the field of activity, Kshetra, that means body, it contains of gross and subtle element. As we saw that 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. And it contains of senses and sense objects. There are 10 senses, 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And each sense has its object, like eyes. Eyes is an object for seeing. Eyes can see. So sight is the object for the sense of eye. Ears are there. The ears can hear. So here is the sense object. So like that, the senses have their sense object. And then transformation of this field causes the dualities in this world. So we will discuss it further. So in text 2 now, here Krishna is replying after hearing the question in text 1. We will speak about Prakriti and Purusha, Kshetra and Kshetragya, Jnanam and Geyam. We can experience that how this Jnana is not as easy as the Father Devotional Service. Father Devotional Service, we're discussing about the Leelas of the Lord and qualities of the Lord. And now here's the little technical aspect. But it is all related to Krishna, spoken by Krishna, that's why it is all part of your devotion service. So Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Idam Shariram Konteya Kshetram Iti Avidhiyate. So Idam Shariram Konteya, O son of Kunti, this Sharira, what is there? Kshetram Iti Avidhiyate. This is called Kshetra. Kshetra or the field. This is for the condition show the material body, which is a product of Prakriti, is Kshetra, is the field in which it can work. Etad yo veti tam prahu kshetragya iti tad vidaha. So kshetragya, the knower of the body, is the individual soul, that is jiva, living in the body. Like we have body and we are embodied. There is a body and we are the owner of the body. The body is called kshetra. Kshetra means the field. Because what happens in the field, one can cultivate many kind of crops. So similarly with this body also, one can do many kind of activities. That is why body is compared to kshetra, is compared to field. And just like the field has an owner who decides what to cultivate in that field. Similarly, kshetragya means one who knows the body. That means the living entity. And living entity owns that body. Dehi knows me, yatha dehe. Dehi know asmi. That means he is the owner of the body. And then in the third verse, Krishna says that I am also the knower of the field in all bodies. Kshetram jnanam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetresu bharata. So Prabhupada gives an example that just like every individual farmer can have his own field and he knows his field, but the government of the town, the government of the city, it knows about all the different fields which are existing in different parts. So similarly, we know our individual body only. We know whether I'm feeling hungry or I'm feeling thirsty or I'm feeling headache or I'm sick. But Krishna is super soul in everyone's heart, and Krishna is also Kshetragyam. He is also knower of the field, but the difference is that he knows all the fields. He can simultaneously knows what is going on in different bodies. We ourselves can know only what is going on in our body. That is why we are local Kshetragya, we know only our body. And Krishna is global Kshetragya, he knows about all the bodies, what is happening. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetresu bharata. He knows what is happening in all the sarva kshetras. Kshetra kshetra gyor jnanam yatta jnanam matamama. So, what is knowledge? Knowledge is perfect knowledge of the material body and its knower, the soul and the super soul. This is my understanding. This is my opinion. So these are the five platforms at which the living being or the consciousness exists. That is Annamaya, that is gross, like a child is there. So child, if you see everything he takes and puts into mouth because he's Annamaya Kosh. There is Pranamaya Kosh. Pranamaya Kosh that a person we can develop to preserve his life. If some danger comes, then he can preserve it. Jnanamaya, one who appreciates the subtle interaction of mind, intelligence, emotion, aesthetics, etc. as ultimate. That is subtler, like the scientists are there. So they are greatly excited about how the atoms are combining and how the atom bomb can be designed, how the mobile can be designed and Wi-Fi, this, that, and also these are subtler interactions. There's jnana. Vijnanamaya means that he comes to know that actually beyond all this material thing, there is spirit. Without the spirit soul, without Atma, all matter will not be. Matter is dead. It is used by the living entity to manipulate and act in different ways, to manufacture different. So Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya means that one understands that not only that I am a spirit, but actually I am connected to the Supreme Spirit, I am connected to the Supreme Self, and thus enters into blissful relationship. So these are the five levels of consciousness which exist among all living entities and also human beings. There are Annamaya stage like a child, then Pranamaya stage, it becomes a little grown up, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So these are the levels of consciousness. And now it comes to composition of the body because this is kshetra. So again, the kshetra is described in details. What is this kshetra? The body is composed of Mahabhutani Ahankara. So Mahabhutani means these are the Mahabhuta, five Mahabhuta. Bhumir, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, Kham. Bhumir, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, Kham. These are the five Mahabhuta. So these are five great elements which are there. Buddhir, Avyaktam, Evacha. And then there are three subtle elements. And Indriyani, Dashayakamcha, there are 10 Indriyas plus one mind, 11 Indriyas. Panchacha, Indriya Gochara. And then five are the sense objects like smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. So combined together, the aggregate of all these things become 24 elements. And this is called the field of activity. That means this is called in simple language, this is body. Body is having 24 elements of which the body is actually made up of. Talk of 8 elements, but then these 8 elements combined to further divide to form 24 elements. The body is made of 24 elements. And then qualities of the body and changes that body undergoes. What happens with that? This is being described here. That the qualities or changes of the body is Ichva, Desh, Sukham, Dukkham, Sangata, Chetana, Etas, Chetan, Samasena, Savikara, Udaharat. The changes of the body or the qualities of the body include desire, Ichha, hatred, Dvesha, happiness, Sukham, distress, Dukkham, and the aggregate body combining from 24 elements and the life symptoms, Chetana and conviction. So there are other qualities also which are not given here, like determination, uncertainty, faith, etc. And all these are products of mind. So this is how the kshetra is being defined. And now this is about the items of knowledge. The 20 items of knowledge are defined by Krishna. And these appear like qualities. Why? Because Krishna described different aspects of saintly character by which the soul could disentangle himself from the mental body. The Kshetragya could separate himself from the Kshetra and attain liberation. Thus, the following are the aspects of knowledge and liberation. This is Jnanam and the path to liberation. So, this Jnanam is the cultivating the qualities described in 8 to 12 verses. Geya, the object of knowledge is soul and super soul. They have to be. The soul is Brahman and eternal, and super soul is other qualities of super soul are described after this knowledge. So, the Kshetra, Kshetragya, Jnana, and Geya is fully understood by the Lord's devotee only. So this will come further. So these are the verses which describe about the qualities. We will just recite the verses together because very beautiful verses. And Srila Prabhupada defines these qualities in a very nice way. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shantir, arjavam, acharyopashanam, socham, स्थैर्यम, आत्मविनिग्रह, इंद्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम, अनहंकार एव च, जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःख दोषानुदर्शनम, अशक्तेर अनभिष्वंगः, पुत्रदाराग्रहादिषु, नित्यं च संस्थितत्वं, स्थानिस्तोपपत्तिषु, मयि च अनन्य योगेन भक्तिर अव्यभिचारिणी, विविक्त देश सेवितम्, आरतिर जन संसदि, अध्यात्म ज्ञान नित्यात्वं, तत्व ज्ञानार्थ दर्शनम्, एतत् ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम्, अज्ञानं यद् अतो अन्यथा. So we should read the purport. Srila Prabhupada has, with great care and concern, he has listed down these 20 qualities and defined each of these qualities and given us instruction on how to practice this quality. Krishna said, Etat Jnanam iti proktam. I say, I declare that Etat Jnanam, these 20 qualities, cultivation of these 20 qualities is real knowledge. And rest everything is Ajnanam yad ato anyatha. Rest everything is Ajnanam. So spiritual knowledge and realization cannot be attained unless one has a particular character. Material knowledge, one may cheat, one may go to the teacher and threaten the teacher, get the paper, and then give examination, get marks, get degree. That is possible in the material realm because it's just a piece of paper, it's a certification. But the spiritual wisdom is for transformation of the heart, and this spiritual wisdom will not be digested, will not be realized unless one has a particular character. And Krishna earlier described that character as Tadvidhi Pranipadena Pariprashrena Sevaya, and now here the details are given that these 20 qualities have to be cultivated. So, a devotee, along with chanting Hare Krishna and following the regulative principles, should also take out some time to understand the depth of these qualities, the nature of these qualities, so that although we are practicing devotion service, simultaneously we cultivate these qualities also. Because cultivation of qualities and practice of devotional service are same thing. They are parallel processes. They are not what we call it against each other, right? Just like when we eat food, we get nourishment and strength. So similarly, when we practice devotional service, actually we should be able to see this quality developing in us. But because our practice of devotional service is not fully pure in the beginning, so at the same time we should also take care to develop these qualities. So, for example, amanitvam Prabhupada describes. Amanitvam means humility. Humility means that one should give up the desire to have the honor of being respected by others, like that Prabhupada says. Adamitvam, pride, ahimsa, Prabhupada defines non-violence. So he says that real non-violence is to preach Krishna consciousness so that the living entities can be educated in what is their real dharma and they can be engaged in it. Like that, it goes each quality, and this quality called Mai Cha Annena Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. This is the core quality. So, among these 20 qualities, 19 qualities are called Tatastha Lakshana, that is secondary quality. And one is called primary quality or Swabhava Lakshana. This is Mai Cha Annena Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. So, this quality of surrendering to Krishna completely, this is the primary quality. If a devotee has this one quality, then gradually other qualities will also manifest. On the other hand, sometimes the Jnanis, they may also show these other qualities which are being mentioned here. But because they are not devoted to Krishna, they are not, their qualities are not considered stable. So, this is a special blessings and benediction for the devotees. Maicha ananya yogena bhakti rabya vicharini. By engaging in exclusive devotion service to the Lord, then the other qualities are also developed by the blessings of the Lord. And at the same time, we are saying that one should also know the depth of these qualities and apply these qualities to oneself, saying that, am I behaving in a arrogant way? Am I behaving in a violent way? Am I following these qualities or not? This is a part of devotional service also. So these are the qualities which are being mentioned. And then now further, soul and super soul. Purusha is being mentioned here because there is a question about Kshetra. We discovered Kshetra. Kshetra means the body. Kshetragya means one who knows the body. Two people know the body, the soul and the super soul. And then with the discussion about Jnana, so these 20 qualities are discussed in Jnana. And now there is Gayam. Gayam means to be known. What is to be known? The real objects of knowledge are Jivatma and Paramatma. So here there is a description about these two percentages, soul and super soul. So what happens by knowing the knowable, Gayam, you will attain liberation. And Gayam yatta pravakshami yat gyatva mutam asnute anadi mat param brahma nasattan nashat uchate. So by knowing the knowable, you will attain liberation. And then he says the Brahman, the spirit soul, this is about. So when it talks about Brahman, at certain verses, the Brahman will refer to soul. And certain verses, the Brahman will refer to super soul. That will come to know only from translation and purport. So I'm sure that we all can experience how this Jnanam has so much scope, even as devotees, for understanding each word and understanding each quality, one has to take so much stress. And if one is not guided by the Acharya or by the spiritual master, then one has so much scope for speculation. One can go on speculation, this can mean this, and soul and super soul are one. One may not even know that there are two souls, two Brahman are there. One may think them to be one. And that is why there are many people who think that soul and super soul are one. And they will quote verses like this to prove. But the real knowledge has to be understood by following in the footsteps of an Acharya. From an Acharya, we know that what this verse is indicating, what is the meaning of this verse. So, in the 14th verse, 14 to 18 verse, the qualities of super soul are being described. So, in the 13th verse, this verse, Brahman, that means the qualities of the soul are being described. And now, from text number 14 to 18, the qualities of super soul, Paramatma, they are being described. Like in text 14, it says, Sarvata pani padam tad, sarvatokshir shiromukham, sarvatah shruti malloke, sarvam avrit tishtati. Everywhere are his hands and legs. So we don't have hands and legs everywhere. So this is talking of super soul. Everywhere are his eyes, heads, and faces. Everywhere are his ears, and he is all pervading. Super soul is all pervading. Just like sun is situated in the sky and there are thousands of pots of water kept below, the sun gets reflected in each pot. So similarly, the super soul is situated in one place, but it is there still in the heart of every living entity. It's all pervading. And then it talks of how it is transcendental. Sarvendriya gunavasham, sarvendriya vivarditam, asaktam sarva braksheva, nirgunam gunbhokracha. He is the source of all senses, yet he is devoid of all material senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all. He is the master of modes, yet transcendental to them. So these are contradictory qualities. In Isha Upanishad also we find that the Supreme God has inconceivable qualities which appear to be contradictory. So like that, how is transcendental, how is all reconciling, that is being described. And in the 18th verse, again the super soul is being identified as the Gayam. Jyotisham apita Jyotish tamasa param uchate. Jnanam Gayam Gyan Gamyam Riti Sarvasya Vishtitam. So it says that he is the source of light and all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter. Jnanam Gayam, his knowledge is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. And Riti Sarvasya Vishtitam, he is situated in everyone's heart. So These are the, and what is the qualification to understand, that is being told in the 19th chapter, that Krishna says in the 19th verse, which is not mentioned here. If you have the book Bhagavad Gita, you can see there. In 19th verse, Krishna says, I have described briefly the body, Kshetra, knowledge, Gyan, and the knowable Gaya. Only my devotees understand this and thus attain to my nature. And combine these are called Vijnana, or the science of knowledge. Kshetra and the Jnana and the Gaya. So Krishna says that only my devotees can understand it. All other people will speculate, but they will not be able to understand it. So now Krishna will go back to the first and second question, what is asked about Prakriti and Purusha. So this is being described in text number 20 to 26. Who is the enjoyer? Purusha means enjoyer. So what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, how they get combined together, that is being described in this particular section. So in text 20, it talks about how all the good and bad event transformation occurs in Prakriti. Prakriti causes different situations to manifest, and Purusha's identification with Prakriti causes happiness and distress. And Purusha's desire to enjoy entangled in Prakriti. So again, Purusha is having two meanings here. One, Purusha, the living entity, is also referred as Purusha. Although living entity by nature is Prakriti, is enjoyed, but because of contaminated consciousness, the living entity thinks that I am the enjoyer. That is why Krishna also sarcastically addresses him as Purusha. Okay, this is the Purusha, but the Purusha is suffering, what is doing. And then the Purusha will also be used in connection with Super Soul. So this is how the path of Jnana is, that one word will be used for multiple references, and one has to be very careful and attentive to note that which word is used in which context and which words. So that is other chapters like 14 and 15, they will not be so technical. So this is one of the most technical parts of Bhagavad Gita. So please be attentive and let's learn it. So Krishna described what Paramatma as the knower of the field. He will now describe how the Jiva, who is the knower of the field, Kshetragya, comes in contact with Maya. So this is how the things will be described. Now text 20. In text 20, he says that Prakriti and Purusha are eternal. Prakriti and Purusha are eternal. That is what material nature, Prakriti, and the Jivas of the living entities, Purusham, are beginningless. They are anadi. They are both energies of the Supreme Lord. Their transformation and the material modes are products of material nature. So Prakriti and Purusha both are eternal. That means the living entity and the material nature both are eternal. How? Earlier Krishna tells in the 7th chapter, there are 8 separated entities, but they are as eternal as the Lord. And similarly, living entity, Mama Eva Vansho Jiva Bhuta, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. This living entity is also my eternal part and parcel. So, before the creation, material nature and the living entities were absorbed in the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu. At the time of creation, they get manifested and the living entities are given a chance to act in the material world and prepare themselves to enter into the spiritual world. So, when Mahavishnu takes rest, all the universes come and reside in the navel of Mahavishnu. So there's no activity there. The living entity is sleeping and all the material elements are there. So then when the time of creation comes in again, the universes get manifested. And then again creation is done, secondary creation is done by Lord Brahma. And then the living entity gets a chance to execute it with that. Now imagine, if we see bags of cement, we see iron, we are not feeling attracted towards that. But the same iron and the same cement and the same mud, when they take the form of a house, they make a bungalow. Now, what's the bungalow is made up of? It is made up of elements only, right? It is made of earth and iron and all that. But when it takes a form, when it manifests itself, then a person says, this is my bungalow. And sometimes there are so many quarrels about division of property. So same way, when the material nature is unmanifested, the living entity is not attracted to it. But when the material nature manifests itself into shapes and forms, then the living entity becomes active to transform it, to exploit it. Or take another example, like the colors are there. Now the color box is there. So if we see the color box and the paper, we don't go through any emotion. But the same paints we take and the brush we take and a special artist is there. Now if he on the canvas or on the paper, he paints a picture. That picture is able to invoke emotions. He may paint a picture of a very, baby in a very helpless condition, then it may invoke compassion. He may paint a picture of a boy and girl, it may invoke passion. So the paints are there, paper is there, but unless somebody manifests it, somebody manifests the picture, the living entity does not get, attracted to that. So Prakriti and Purusha both are eternal, but the matter nature manifests and unmanifested, creates a creation. Manifestation happens, then the Purusha, then the living entity comes. Oh, I have come in this world, now I have to enjoy. This is mine, that is mine, this field is mine, this body is mine, and this house is mine. So this I and mine concept gets, come into the living entity and it gets entangled. So the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Purusha, the master, controller, enjoyer, proprietor, maintainer. The Jiva or the living entity is the energy of the Supreme Lord and not the master controller. But still the Jiva is sometimes called Purusha due to his mentality of being the master. So that is why actual Purusha is the Lord. The only Purusha is the Supreme Lord. But living entity is addressed as Purusha because it has taken that mood. It has taken that bhav that yes, I am the enjoyer in this matter. That is why it's taken. Now roles of Prakriti and Purusha. Here, Prakriti and Jiva. Karya Karan Kartrutve Hetu Prakritir Uchate. Prakriti or the material nature is said to be the cause of material causes and effects. Now, whatever material changes take place, whatever transformation happens, that is happening because of Prakriti. For example, our body is changing. Now, we are not playing any role in the change of our body. We cannot stop it and we cannot accelerate it. So, the change of the body is happening by the effect of Prakriti. That is the cause of the change of body. Now, what is Purusha? Purusha Sukha Dukkha Nam Bhoktratve Hetur Uchate. Purusha or the living entity is the cause of his own happiness and distress due to his enjoying propensity. So suppose there is a film heroine who is beautiful in her youth. So now, because of the effect of material nature, she will become old. That is not caused by her. That is caused by material nature. But because she is attached to look young and beautiful, when she becomes old, she feels that she is looking ugly and she may feel frustrated, she may feel distressed. So the cause of the change is material nature. Prakriti causes the changes, but happiness and distress is experienced by the Purusha, by the living entity. Why? Because material nature is dead. It does not have any capacity to experience anything. Take another example. We buy a new car and we bring it to our home, and we have bought BMW. So we feel very happy. Car is not feeling any happiness or distress. Why? Because car is a dead object. But it is we who feel now I own the car, so I am happy. And then we park the car in our parking and we go home and we are celebrating. And we hear some sound coming from the down car. And we see, oh, children are playing cricket with a cork ball. And we become very much in worry that the ball may hit the screen of the car and may break it. So now car is not undergoing emotion, but we are undergoing emotion in reference to the car, although the car itself is dead. So material nature causes different things to happen. It causes transformation, but it's not experiencing any sukha or dukkha. Sukha or dukkha is experienced by the living entity. And all of a sudden we hear the breaking of a glass. And then we are like, my God, it's a new car. I bought it just now. And the glass is broken and we undergo depression and anger and frustration and we rush from our house. And we say, we go and see the car and we see that our car's glass is not broken. The glass of the neighbor's car is broken. So again, we become really broken. It's not my car. So the car does not know to whom does it belong. The car is dead element. But the living entity, by the dint of his consciousness attracted to that dead object, is undergoing emotions of happiness and distress. This is how Purusha, Sukha, Dukkha, Nam, Bhoktatva, Hetu, Uchate. Purusha, the living entity, is the cause of his own happiness and distress. The car is not the source of happiness and distress. Car is the dead element. Similarly, any situation or any person of this world is not the cause of our happiness and distress. The cause of our happiness and distress is our own expectation, is our own enjoying propensity. We were expecting something out of it, we didn't get it, we become frustrated. Suppose somebody is a manager in a company and he has called for a meeting with a person, and the person comes half an hour late. Now there can be many responses. If a person is like saying, how can he be late? I'm the boss, I called for a meeting. He's come half an hour late, that means he doesn't value me, he may undergo great frustration. And if the person feels okay, whatever time is to come, let him come. I wanted some peaceful time to read Bhagavad Gita, so I got half an hour to read Bhagavad Gita. Same situation, same condition, but a person based on what he's expecting. based on his expectation, he will experience happiness or suffering. So the whole world will keep on changing, but that is not under our control. The changes will always be there. They're a part of the world, including our own body. Today our body is healthy, tomorrow it may become sick. You may get hospitalized, you may get some kind of kidney problem and some kind of so many kind of things happen in the body. But still, our happiness and distress is not a function of the changing material manifestation. It is a function of our own expectation of what we are expecting, or what way we are expecting things to happen. So we get happiness and frustrated and distress because of our own enjoying propensity. So this next verse is a very important verse, quite often not fully, but it's quoted to show how the Jiva's association with moods leads to its transmigration. Purusha prakriti stohi bhunte prakriti jan guna karanam guna sangosya sad asad yoni janmashu. The living entity is situated in the material body. Purusha prakriti stohi is situated in the material nature, in the material body. This is like a car. Bhunte prakriti jan guna, thinking he's enjoying in the three modes of prakriti. Just like the driver is feeling that now I'm driving the car here, I'm happy, I'm not happy, whatever. The driver is using the car, but driver's happiness is not the happiness of the car. The car and driver are two different. Karanam guna sango asya. This is due to the association with the three modes. Thus, he meets with good and evil in various species. But because of this attachment, the living entity thinking himself with the body controlled by three modes, again and again the living entity develops various kinds of desires for enjoyment. And whatever kind of desires are developed, mental nature awards a particular body to fulfill that desire. So we see that here on the left side, you can see that whatever kind of desire a person develops, that kind of body he develops. Under the influence of material desire, the living entity is born, sometimes as demigod, sometimes as man, sometimes as beast, sometimes as bird, sometimes as worm, sometimes as aquatic, and so on. And in all cases, the living entity thinks himself to be the master of his circumstances. Yet he is under the influence of matter, nature, and mode. This is due to the jiva's misidentification of Prakriti and misuse of his minute independence. We should not think that as human being only we think we are enjoying. At one time, Indra was cursed to become a hog, a pig. And he became a pig and he became so absorbed in being a pig, identifying with the pig body and the pig circumstances, that when Brahmaji came to tell, Are Indra, now you come that management is not happening well at Indra Loka, so you come back, we are compensating for your curse and everything. And Indra said, What are you talking of? I don't understand what happiness the king of heaven has. The happiness which I have with my wife and children and eating this wonderful, delicious food which I am given, I don't care about the happiness of Indra. So this was Hawke's realization. So one should know that whichever body the living entity assumes, that conditions living entity finds complete satisfaction. Whether it is in the body of a bird or a fish, nobody want to change the position. So Indra refused to come. And then Brahmaji said, Come on, you are a pig. You're eating stool in Indraloka, you're eating food stuff which is cooked in pure ghee. This is obtained from the pure cows. He said, No, this is more relishable than anything else. And I have my nice family and everything. How can I leave this and come? So then Brahmaji understood that he's too attached. And then Brahmaji had to make a plan, and then a hunter comes, butcher comes and kills the sheep pig and the children, and then in the realization comes. So this story is quoted to show that how the living entity gets so absorbed. It is like the living entity is put under a spell. Whatever body we have got, it is like a spell put on us. And we feel that whatever we are obtaining through that body is the greatest happiness. This is the meaning of Sadasad Yoni Janvasu, and the living entity keeps on going from one body to another, making itself very happy. So now Krishna talks about another Purusha, the original Purusha, that is second type of Purusha, that is Super Soul, and who is not entangled like ordinary Purusha, who knowing whom becomes the cause of liberation, and one can achieve this understanding through various types of yoga, of which Bhakti is the easiest and best. So, Super Soul is being talked about. So Prabhupada says from Katha Upanishad that there are two birds sitting on the same tree. The body is compared to a tree, and the two birds are sitting. One bird is trying to taste the fruits of the tree. Sometimes they're sweet, sometimes they're sour. Other bird is simply watching the first bird and saying when this bird will turn its face towards me. So similarly, in every living being, there are two souls. One is the Jiva, living being. Another one is Paramatma. Paramatma is overseeing and making all arrangement and is waiting for the living being to turn towards him. So one Purusha is controlled by nature, that is Maya Adhin. The other is the controller of nature, that is Maya Dish. Super soul is controller of nature. Super soul is the real Purusha. What is his role? Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmeti Chapi Yukto Dehesmin Purusha Para. In this body, there is another Purusha who is called Paramatma. He is overseer, he is Upadrashta, he observes everything. Sometimes people ask, I did the wrong thing. Who is seeing? I am not a CCTV. A CCTV may be there or not there, there is inside CCTV. Paramatma is the overseer, he sees everything. Bharta, he is the supreme master. Bhokta, he is the supreme enjoyer, proprietor, Maheshwara. And he is the permitter of Jiva's action. Upadrashta Anumanta cha, he gives permission, he gives sanction. By giving sanction, it does not become responsible for that. Just like we were giving the example the other day, the company manufactures a car which can run at 100 km per hour, but it is we who are driving who have to see what is the speed limit on the road. Right? Similarly, the government is opening both places. Government is opening schools and colleges, and government is opening jail also. So where do we go? That is our choice. Government is not responsible for opening the place. So that's why Paramatma sanctions, but the sanction is not the cause for our good fortune or misfortune. Our desires are the cause for that. What is the result of this knowledge? One who knows about Prakriti, Purusha and three modes of matter nature attains liberation. Nasa bhuyo vidyate. And how we can come out of this entanglement? There are other methods. Dhyane, this word, Dhyane natmani pashyanti, kechidatmanam atmanam, anya sankhena yogena, karma yogena chapa. Krishna says that there are many processes like some see Paramatma through meditation, dhyana, others by cultivation of knowledge, jnanena, others by working with the spiritual desires. These are the processes people try to see Paramatma, karma yogena chapare. But a devotee sees it by the process of hearing. Anyeto evam agyatah shrutva nebhya upasate tepi chatiranti eva mrityu shruti parayana. Others, although not having knowledge, agyanatah, worship the Supreme Lord by hearing about him. Prabhupada says this is the benediction for this age. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this benediction that although one may not be able to understand the technical aspect and cultivate knowledge to understand the purpose, but simply by Shrutva Annebhya Upasate, one worships by hearing about it. And what happens? Tepi Chati Atarantyeva Mrityu Shruti Parayana. Just by becoming Shruti Parayana, by faithful hearing. Hearing is the first process from authoritative person. A person converts over birth and death. So, it's a very beautiful purport on this text. That simply by hearing the devotee can understand everything about Paramatma and can transcend it. Another aspect, the same Paramatma which these people are trying to see, Jnanis, Yogis, and Karmis through these endeavors. Actually, for a devotee, the same Paramatma comes in the form of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is not different from the Paramatma. Krishna, who manifests himself inside the devotee as Paramatma, he manifests himself externally as a spiritual master. The spiritual master is directly accessible. We are hearing his lecture, we are reading his book. Sometimes we get personal opportunity to meet with him and ask. So we should understand that there is no difference between Paramatma and the spiritual master. So that is why for a devotee, Paramatma realization is so easy. To hear from Guru is hearing from Paramatma. But for all these other people, they have to do so many gymnastics and so many tedious processes to have any understanding about Super. So now all the 6 questions of Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragya, Jnana, Gyeya, all these 6 questions are answered. Now in this remaining few verses, he integrate and expand on all the topic and explain the vision of one who can understand them from proper perspective. One who has developed this knowledge of Paramatma. What does he see? From seeker to seer, how does he see it? These 3 are told about how he sees it. The realized person can distinguish spirit and matter in all circumstances. That is 27th verse. Every living entity moving and non-moving in the material existence is only a combination of the field of activity and the knower of the field. Kshetra, Kshetrakya, Samyoga. So when he sees, he understands that actually there is a body and within the body there is a soul. And this is a combination. As soon as the soul leaves the body disintegrates. So this is how a realized person sees. He sees indestructible super soul always accompanying indestructible living entities. Now he sees living entity and material body together. Then he sees that within the body, the soul is there and super soul is also there. And then, seeing super soul everywhere, he acts in proper knowledge and never degrade himself by pursuing selfish desires of the mind. He knows that Paramatma is always watching him, that he does not degrade himself. So this is often told that we should always know that we are always being watched. There may not be other devotees watching us, our guru watching us from outside, CCTV recording our think, but Paramatma within is always watching us. So this can give a devotee great confidence that actually I'm never alone. The Lord in the Paramatma form is always with me. He knows what I'm thinking, what I'm going through, what my needs are, what my desires are. And I can always pray. Wherever I am, I can pray because Paramatma is right there in the. So all living entities are combination Purusha and Prakriti. And one who sees this, he says, Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu, Tishtantam Parameswaram, Vinashyatas Avinashyatam, Aya Pashyati Pashyati. He says that the Super Soul is equally disposed to all living entities. He is residing in the heart of all embodied beings, Tishtantam Parameswaram. And he is indestructible, Vinashyatas Avinashyatam. And he is situated in the destructive bodies, but the soul or the super soul does not get destroyed. One who sees like this is the actual seer. And one who has mature vision due to real knowledge sees the Supreme Lord distinct from the Jivas, but situated in the Jivas were combined with Prakriti. That the super soul does not get entangled, but it is still there in every body. It does not get entangled with the material elements, but it is there to help the soul. So, what is the main result of such mature vision? No degradation. Samam pashyami sarvatra, samavastitam ishwaram nahi. Vinastiti atmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. So one sees and that there is nothing which is hidden from the Supreme Lord. And then he goes for the transcendental vision of Krishna. Just having here, he sees that ultimately neither he nor others are acting. Only the body acts in this world, but the living entity is distinct from the field of activity, never mixing with the body. So this is the two seers position about Jiva and Prakriti. Prakriti is the doer. Prakriti vevacha karmani, kriyamanani sarvasha. Ya pashyati tathatmanam, akartaram sapashyati. So this topic, as we were discussing right from third chapter, when it says that Prakriti kriyamanani guna karmani sarvasa, ahankar vimudatma karta ahamiti manyate. So this thing will continue till 18th chapter because this takes contemplation. And this takes time to realize that Prakriti actually is the doer of everything. For example, say now I am speaking. Am I speaking? If I get paralyzed, I still have the desire to speak, but can I speak? Do I know how the words are getting formed, how the airs are circulating, how the vocal cords are moving? No, I have no idea. I have the desire, and somehow the desire is sanctioned by the Lord, and then the mental body is acting as per the desire. So it looks that I am speaking, I am doing, but actually it is happening by the sanction of the Lord and by the arrangement of matter. Otherwise, if I am the doer, whenever I desire, I should be able to do that. But that is not the case. Just like sometimes in our homes, we have electrical switch and we switch on. So is our pressing the button the cause of the light to get on? It is in one way because we switched on, but we should know there is a lot of background things. The power, electricity has to be there, the switch has to be connected to the fan or the light, and then only pressing the button will make it happen. So pressing the button is just one part of it. But we say, let's switch on the light, and we say, yes, I'm switching on the light. But actually, we understand that behind this is a lot of things. Similarly, it appears like that we are doing so many things, but if one carefully sees, everything is done by mental nature. The body with which we act, the mind and intelligence with which we think and contemplate, they are all under the control of mental nature. And when our desires are sanctioned by the Lord, they work as if they are in our control. And when the super soul doesn't sanction, then it doesn't work our control. Sometimes people get a disease. I'm forgetting the name, but the disease causes forgetfulness. So what happens is that person even forget whether he has brushed his teeth or not. And after half an hour, he's thinking whether I brushed my teeth. And then again, he takes the brush and brushes the teeth. He comes out of the bathroom, he forget whether he took his bad tea or not. So the same mind and intelligence by which one can become a great intellectual lawyer or a great personality, if Krishna switches off that button, then he will not even remember whether he drank tea or he brushed his teeth or not. So this material body is not in our control. Somebody who understands that, it is not that he doesn't do anything. He does it, but he fully understands that my doing is by the supervision of the Lord and by the sanction of the Lord. And thus, in this form, in this way, acting in this way, he does not become attached to the fruits of that. He understands this body's actions are sanctioned by the Lord. That is, whatever happens through this body should be offered to the Lord. This body should be offered in Lord's service because Lord is making it function. It is rented by the Lord to me. That is why it should be used in Lord's service. So then such a person has a Brahman vision. He sees soul expanding everywhere. Material vision is to see separate identities, pratak bhava, due to different material bodies. Mature vision is to see how beings of the same spiritual source are expanded everywhere. So this also creates harmony. This creates a universal brotherhood. Why? Because you understand that each body is having a soul, and that soul is a part and parcel of the Lord. Now the soul is covered over by different gunas, but gunas are external covering. Just like we do not like or dislike people based on the clothes they wear. Somebody is wearing dirty clothes, somebody is wearing clean clothes. But we like the person who is wearing the clothes, not just the clothes. Sometimes mothers have experienced children go out playing, and when they come back, the clothes become dirty. So mother do not reject the child saying, "Hey, I have dirty clothes, you're not my child." No, okay, clothes are there, it will change. So similarly, the three modes of mental nature, they create a covering of contamination of the pure soul. And somebody who sees the soul within the body, he understands that actually everyone is pure. Even the greatest terrorists, the greatest fanatic people, the greatest killers, and the greatest addictions, in essence, they are pure souls. In essence, they are part and parcel of the Supreme God, but it is just that they are covered up by the mode so deeply that they are engaging in many different kind of wrong activities. So we should not sanction the action. We can hate the action, but we should have compassion and love for the actor. So this is a very important vision which a devotee develops by seeing that how everything is a part and parcel of the life. The soul is non-doer and is not entangled. Anaditvam nirgunatvad paramatmane avya. Sarirastopi kaunteya na karoti na limbati. So then Arjuna asks whether you can give some example how the soul is there but it doesn't get entangled. So there are two examples which Krishna gives in text 33 and 34. 33 he says, Yatha sarvagatam swakshmayat aksham no lipyate sarvatra avasthito dehe tathatma na apalipyate. The soul situated in Brahman vision stays aloof, though situated in the mental body, just as the sky, although all pervading, doesn't get mixed with anything due to its certain nature. So sky is there, within sky there is wind. Sometimes the wind is like a storm, a lot of dirt is there. Sometimes it's cloudy and sometimes it is clear. So within sky there may be cloud, there may be wind, but the sky does not mix with anything. So similarly, the person who is self-realized, who can see super soul, he may be seen to undergo different circumstances. Sometimes body is cooperating, sometimes things are happening favorably, sometimes not. But he remains, calmly situated. He does not get entangled with that, knowing that these are the transformation happening in the mental body. And I'm aloof. And Arjuna asks, can I give one more example? So Krishna gives this text 34. Yatha prakashyati eka krishnam lokam imam bhavi kshetram kshetri tadha krishnam prakashyati bharata. That the soul illuminates the entire body by consciousness, just as the sun alone illuminates the whole universe. So consciousness is not a product of uh, matter. It is a symptom of the soul. The consciousness of one particular body does not share that of another body, but the super soul is situated in all bodies as the friend of all is conscious of all bodies. This is the difference between supreme consciousness and individual consciousness. Just like sun is situated in one place which can enlighten the entire universe. Similarly, the soul is situated in the region of the heart, but it is spread consciousness all over the body. And when the soul leaves the body, then the body is no more conscious. The senses are no more active. So this is the second example. One example he gives about the sky, another example he gives about the sun. And now the Falashruti, the summary verse of this chapter. Kshetra kshetra gyorevam antaram jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti moksham cha ye viduryanti te param. Those who see with eyes of knowledge, antaram jnana chakshusha, what they see, those who see with eyes of knowledge, the difference between the body and the nodes of the body. Kshetra, kshetra, gyor, evam. Kshetra means body, kshetra means the nodes of the body, which are two in number. The soul is also considered knower, and the super soul is also knower. So the difference between soul and the material body and super soul. So matter is body, consciousness is spirit, soul is the controller. So matter, spirit, and controller of both. Matter, jiva, soul, and super soul. The one who knows the three things, what happens? He also understands the process of liberation from bondage in a material nature. Bhutva prakriti moksham cha. He understands how to come out of it, how to attain the liberation. Ye vidur yanti te param. Such an intelligent person attains the supreme goal. And the purpose says that one should understand the subject matter of soul, super soul, and material nature under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. And thus, knowing this knowledge, having this knowledge, one becomes liberated from the contamination of material nature's effect. So we conclude here. This is wisest This is the little chapter, board sections. So there are questions about 6 things. Kshetra, Kshetragya, not difficult. If you just it may look technical, it's simple. Kshetra means body. Kshetragya means knower of the body. There are 2 knowers. One is the soul, individual soul, and there is super soul. Kshetragya. Prakriti means metal nature. Purusha, there are 2 Purushas. Again, soul can be called as Purusha because we're trying to enjoy it, imitating Purusha. And Purusha is the supreme Purusha, super soul. So Purusha, Prakriti, and then Jnana. Jnana means the knowledge, the 20 items of knowledge which we saw. And Gayam, Gayam means the object of knowledge, which is the super soul. These are the 6 questions asked, and these 6 questions are answered by Krishna. And then Krishna says, one who knows super soul, what becomes his vision, how he sees everything equally. And he sees beyond the temporary body. And he understands that the soul is not acting into the 3 modes which are acting. And then he becomes transcendental to material realm, like the sky does not mix with the wind or the cloud, or the sun situated in the sky spread light all over but does not get mixed with the things of this world. So like that, the living entity becomes transcendental. So with this, we conclude our chapter 13. And tomorrow also we will be taking chapter 14 and 15, but they are comparatively smaller than the 2 chapters we took today. So hopefully we will have a little time for questions tomorrow. Right now, I think we will conclude here.
That was from Prabhuji.
Hello, sir.
Pundaki given Prabhu is available. Yesterday he wanted to ask one question.
Okay.
Sorry,
He-
bro. I cannot recall. It was very simple. It was something topic. It was that time in my mind. I'm not able to recall. Sorry, bro.
Not an issue, but
Okay.
yesterday we ran out of time. Today we tried to cover. Tomorrow also we'll have a little time. Chapters are smaller.
Sure, bro.
Tomorrow we'll have a very beautiful presentation about the spiritual world. Rahasyam made that. It's very fantastic.
The
I was
75% of the creation.
pardon.
Like spiritual world is 5% of the creation, bro.
Yes, yes. Tripal Vibhuti. It's a 340. But because we
Yeah.
are stuck up here, it's important to know where we are so that we can rise up from here and go there. So I thank all of you very much for your kind attention and limited way to explain. These topics are a little complicated and personal dialogue and questions are in between us. But still with the medium of Zoom, whatever best we can do, we are trying to
Hare
help
Krishna
with the
Prabhu.
help of.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Go ahead with Prabhu. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask a question about our Manibhushan Prabhu.
Yes.
This is see, he's a service holder, and he is a like full-time devotee also. Means he's one of the best devotees I have seen in my life. Hare Krishna devotee,
Yes.
ISKCON devotee. So now, if we talk about the Varnashram,
Correct.
okay, the Varnas, the 4 Varnas, where he will be fit into? Is he a Shudra because he is a service holder, or is he a Brahman because he is doing the Hare Krishna chanting every time and Shastra Adhyan and all these things he is doing? Say the same person, he has a side business also. Say Manibhushan Prabhu is doing a side business.
Yeah.
Okay, then he is a Vaishya also at the same time. How we will identify him as per Gita or as per our Shastra?
Yeah, good question. Best is that Krishna recognizes devotee as Vaishnavas, and because the Varnashram system is not in full existence now, it's very difficult to re-establish. So it is Prabhupada called about Devi Varnashram. That means one may have any profession one may be engaging in, but because one is engaging in devotion service, primarily he's a devotee because he's following the Navvidha Bhakti process. He is following the Bhagavad Marga. So because of that, he's a devotee first, and a devotee does devotion service. That means whatever actions he does, whether it's service, doing service, then he's doing service service and offering the fruits of that service to Krishna. If he's doing business, he's offering some fruits of business to Krishna. If he's doing some menial service like cleaning or something, that also is doing for Krishna. So it's very difficult because now the varnas and ashramas are not so distinctly defined because of the mix of the qualities and mix of the engagement. One person does multiple. Like like as brahmacharis, in the morning we do deity worship, then afternoon we give class, then evening we do toilet cleaning, and and sometimes in the evening you have to meet some well-wisher and donors to collect funds. So in one day, we do all four kind of activities: brahmanical activities, and management we do this is administration activity. So we should see them as Vaishnavas and we should respect them as Vaishnavas. We should not get too much into the Varnashram side for that. We should know they are devotees, they are dear to Krishna, and we should reciprocate with them by encouraging them in their Krishna consciousness, by taking their association in the 6 ways. Tadati pratigranati guyamakati prachati. These are the dealings between the devotees. Devotees do not put much attention on the material designation which are being accepted for the sake of maintaining things in this world. So these are designations, these are upadhis for a devotee. A devotee goes to the core. The core is that he is a servant of the Lord. So Mahaprabhu taught us that Naham Vipro Nachanarapati Napi Vaishyana Shudro Naham Varni Nachagrapati Navanasya Kintu Prodhyan Nikhil Paramananda Purna Amritabdhir Gopi Vartul Pargavani Dasa. We should look at him that he is a very loving servant of Krishna and Guru. That should be our vision to our devotees. Whatever upadhis are required, that is for they are dealing with the material realm of they may be doing job, they may be doing business, they may be whatever. That is they are doing the needful to maintain themselves. But primarily we should see them as servant of the servant, as a devotee, as Guru servant. When we see them, we should remember their spiritual master. They are serving their spiritual master. So that is a good or a better vision for a devotee rather than the material kind of designations. So this is my humble understanding.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Devashish Prabhu, and thank you everyone. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm very grateful. I am not sure on this Zoom how things function and how much I will communicate, but I'm really so inspired to see all of you being there and hearing so attentively and participating in these programs. So, with all my gratitude and thanks, I remain your humble servant. Vancha kalpatarubhesha, kripa sindhu bhaivacha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Mantra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jay.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. We will continue tomorrow the next
Yeah.
part. So
Tomorrow
please,
9 a.m. we will meet.
yeah, Prabhuji. So thank you all
Hare
devotees and
Krishna.
Revatipati Prabhu for this wonderful session. We will all together chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for you. Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Ram
Hare.
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram Ram,
Ram
Hare Hare.
Tomorrow
Hare
also we will
Krishna.
start at 9 o'clock. Krishna. Tomorrow also we will start at 9 o'clock. Please join at 9. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
ഈ യൂട്യൂബ് ഓഫ് ചെയ്യണ്ടേ അതോ കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്യുവാണോ? ലൈവ് സ്ട്രീമിംഗ് ഹലോ
ഇത് വരാൻ പറ്റുള്ളത്
ചിലത് പെട്ടെന്ന് വലിച്ചിങ്ങനെ ഒരു വലി വലിച്ച വരും. ഇത് എന്തോ എന്റെ കെട്ട് ശരിയല്ല. എന്തോ അതാ
കാര്യമായിട്ട് എന്നോട് പറഞ്ഞു. പക്ഷേ കേരളത്തിലേക്കുള്ള അവരുടെ വരന്റെ ഉദ്ദേശം അതല്ല. ഇത്ര ദിവസമായിട്ടും നിങ്ങൾക്കുള്ള പറഞ്ഞു. അതെന്തായാലും പോലീസിന്റെ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്ന കാര്യം നേരിട്ട് വെച്ചു.
ശിവഗുണ പ്രഭു, ഹരേ കൃഷ്ണ.
ഈ യൂട്യൂബ് ലൈവ് കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്, അത് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്യണ്ടേ?
അതന്നെ ശിവഗുണ പ്രഭുവിനെ കിട്ടുന്നത്. ശിവഗുണ പ്രഭു ഇല്ലാതെ ഉണ്ടോ അവിടെ? പോയോ?
ഇല്ല, കാണിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. മ്യൂട്ടഡാ. അടുത്തതിന് വേറെ ലിങ്ക് അല്ലേ വരുന്നേ? ഹരേ കൃഷ്ണ. ശിവഗുണ പ്രഭു കേൾക്കാമോ?
പ്രഭുജി, ലൈവ് ഒന്ന് ഡിസ്കണക്ട് ചെയ്യണം.
ഓക്കെ പ്രഭുജി.
ഹരേ കൃഷ്ണ.